Good morning, you guys. We are back again with Kicking Cancer Cares on KSLM Radio. We are still looking for a sponsor, so if you're interested, go ahead and give me an email, amanda@kslm.news.
Well, and I just want to tell any potential sponsors, what you're doing is you're paying for the production for Amanda's work here on the station. You're getting radio ads in the process. The bonus you're getting is behind the camera. Mm-hmm. Because,
Hold on, I'm coming.
okay, here's
coming.
That's
This
the
one right
bonus
here.
you're getting, because this radio show goes to YouTube.
Yeah.
And we have hired a phenomenal staff in the community outreach. Ashlie is our social media director.
Oh, she's phenomenal.
And our Facebook investigative journalist.
Yes.
And she finds so many amazing things to add to the YouTube. You get the bonus of all that by sponsoring this show. Mm-hmm. We are now, I'm so thrilled what Ashley's done. We've got about 4,000 downloads globally for the podcast. Mm-hmm. We're now up to 12,000 views on YouTube.
Right.
YouTube was such an amazing blessing.
Huge deal.
Ashley saw the vision before I saw the vision.
Yes.
Because all I saw was some old guy with no hair that people didn't want to listen to. But she's like, you'd be surprised. Now we got two old guys with no hair.
Hey, take it back.
Get off your phone. Why are you on your phone so much? It's social media.
Yeah. Well, and now she's on her phone because she's actually working.
Right, it's work.
But anyway, so if you do want to sponsor this show, we do need someone to sponsor the second half of the radio show to pay for all of Amanda's work, but you are going to get so much more of that. And if you've got any questions, just reach out to Amanda.
Amanda@kslm.news.
Well, Russ, we kind of got into a little bit the first half. You see this spot on your foot. It's not a wart. It's grown to a quarter that's black. And then you get the news that it was hard to tell your family, but then you had to start treatment. So tell me treatment during 2023. What was that like?
So, I mean, immediately, actually, it started before that because they did the, well, no, I guess it was 2023 when the treatment started because it was the first of the year. After the
First of the year,
surgery.
2 years ago.
Yeah. After the surgery, they found a tumor in my groin, so they went into immunotherapy doing infusions. And first round, overall, there were some small side effects, not too bad. But then about 3 or 4 months later on my quarterly check, they found more cancer. So it wasn't working. So they needed to step it up. So they changed. They gave me an option of doing surgery, which was really invasive, removing most of the upper shelf lymph nodes in my right groin, or doing the treatment. And they thought the treatment was better. And I agreed because it affected the whole body. And they would have to shut down treatment to do surgery. So we chose that. Unfortunately, first treatment into that number, I think they planned 4 treatments, one every 3 or 4 weeks. The first one, my body just blew up, basically. They give you a list of side effects, and I had all of those plus.
Jeez.
And so it was being enormously, horribly sick, high fevers, rash all over my body. I mean, it was just one thing after the other. It was bad. And
Were they side effects from the immunotherapy?
that was from the immunotherapy, from the infusion. The drug that they use, immunotherapy is a drug that they choose drugs that work with your immune system to help fight the cancer. Well, this one did not like my body, and it did not like the whole situation. So they immediately, I mean, they're awesome. They stopped immediately, right? We can't obviously do that.
Right.
So then we jumped immediately to surgery. And then a couple months later, over the summer, they did the surgery, which was very invasive. I had drains coming out of my body and all that kind of gross stuff. And so anyway, after that, and I healed, my next PET scan and my next checkup, they looked and everything looked awesome. They got it, and the tumor board at OHSU basically declared me no sign of disease.
And that was back in 2023.
Yeah, in the summer. And so I was like, hallelujah, that's awesome, and I'm so grateful. So they did the surgery in the summer. I'm sorry, I think they actually got I think it was the beginning of the fall when I found out, where I was at, because I had to go through another PET scan and all that.
Right.
So anyway, we went through the winter and into the spring, and they did another PET scan over this last summer, actually. And unfortunately, it did not come back good. they found that they saw more cancer in the groin, and so they did a needle biopsy again where they actually go in and suck some of that out and find out, yes, it was absolutely invasive melanoma. But unfortunately, in this one, they also found cancer in my lungs and a tumor in my brain. And so they had set me up for radiation for the tumor in my brain and more immunotherapy for the rest of my body. And so...
and that was summer last year.
That was last summer. It started in August. And
August
then
of
I had
24.
August and September is when all that happened.
Yeah.
Well, actually, this year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This
Just-
last
yeah.
September. It just happened.
Just happened.
So, so anyway, the good news is though that even though I've had some side effects and there's some things I've dealt with nothing like before. Nothing like the bad time that my body blew up. They just did a PET scan and an MRI, and they found out that the MRI, the radiation got most of the tumor, and the brain looks good. And the immunotherapy PET scan, they found out that the tumors have shrunk in my lungs and in my groin. And in the midst of all this, I forgot to mention, they also found it back on my foot again.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it starts in the foot, goes up the groin, hits the lungs, goes to the brain.
Goes to the brain. And I found out that melanoma, this is actually very normal. Melanoma normally goes from the lymph system into the lungs, maybe the liver and other areas too, but thank goodness that didn't happen. I just went to my lungs, and it goes to the brain. It's like, they told me that, and I'm like, really? I said, that is kind of weird. But then
Yeah.
But now it's come full circle back to your foot again.
back to my foot, my dermatologist found it. They did 3 biopsies a couple months ago, and so now I'm on a topical. Actually, this melanoma is not as deep, so they're actually treating the surface and trying to stop it on the foot.
Okay.
So that's what they're doing there. And OHSU agreed. They took the samples and did the testing too, and agreed. My oncologist over the treatment agreed with the same thing. So, pretty crazy. But
And what's really intriguing with what he was just sharing with you, we talked in the first half of the show about Jennifer Beaumont. Mm-hmm. Jennifer goes, it's in her lungs. It was pretty brutal treatment. By the end of 2020, we did that drive-by from her house, and I get this text from her, and it was such an amazing text because she had gone through chemo, and they were going to have to do radiation. That was the next step. Mm-hmm. We did the drive-by, and she sends me a text. She says, well, I've kicked cancer's ass so hard, I don't have to have radiation.
Yes.
yeah.
And we thought everything was great.
And I know that feeling too, because after round 1, they were going to do a whole round of radiation where you're going every day, and I didn't have to do that either.
So you know that whole kick cancer's ass so hard
Yes,
too.
Yeah.
I beat it once, and I plan with God's help to beat it again.
Heck
That's
Well,
yeah.
and Jennifer went back in for just a checkup, like what Russ went through, right? And the second time they go in, like they're checking her lungs, but they saw it had jumped to the other side.
Yeah.
So I think it started on the left, went to the right, and it was a small one. And they decided to check and see if it had grown at all, and it was growing pretty quick for Jennifer.
Yeah.
The challenge for Jennifer was because they had hit the left side with radiation. They're like, we can't do radiation again.
Oh.
Right.
And they said the only way to get to it this time is through your esophagus, and that will kill you.
Oh my.
Like, so they couldn't do radiation directly in the lung. They can't do it on the right side because the left side's been hit. They're going to try to go this direction, but that wasn't going to work, right? Yeah. And so she had to go through some different type of treatments as well. Yeah. So it's interesting that I meet Russ because of Jennifer, and there's a Jennifer 1, there's a Jennifer 2, now there's a Russ 1. But even within your treatments, there was a lot of similarities.
Well, I tell you, I have learned through walking with other people. My dad also passed away of lung cancer. And so his was for a different reason. He was a lifelong smoker. But it is really interesting. I don't know if interesting is the right word, but it's very eye-opening when you're going through it. The mental part of cancer and how it affects your entire body, I don't think people really realize. It is it's very daunting. It is. And then what happens is, thanks to support and wonderful people like Kickin'Cancer, I have been helped already a little bit, but it affects my ability to work.
Oh, yeah.
My ability to do things. I can maybe work 10, 12 hours a week, and then I have to sleep a lot, and I have to rest, and I just can't focus. The fatigue and all the things that go with it. And I think I mentioned too, out of the treatment and all that stuff, it affected my eyesight. I had eye surgery already in the last couple of years during this whole process. I've had eye surgery. It affected my ears. I actually, after the last treatment, the treatment that blew up, 6 months later, they tested my ears, and I had 50% less understanding in my right ear.
Whoa.
I was down to 30% of my right ear. So I was planning to get a cochlear implant based on the fact that I see pretty much every department at OHSU. I was at the ENTs, but then they had to kibosh that because that shadows your brain.
Yeah.
And the likelihood, the medical likelihood, and I'm trusting God this is not going to happen, but the medical likelihood of once you get a brain tumor, of it coming back, and I just talked to my radiation oncologist last week, is super high. They're pretty much convinced that another one will show up, right?
Okay.
And so, they're pretty convinced that it's going to metastasize still, and the other one's going to show up. Now, I'm believing for much better results, and I told them I serve a big God who has got better plans for me.
Amen.
But medically speaking, the outlook and the things that are happening are not as rosy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so those kind of things are, I think, what is the toughest, because then not only does that emotionally affect me and all that I'm doing, but also my family. Because it affects everything, how I can provide and all of those things. It's hard. It is really hard.
Well, something that he said, I want to circle back to two guests that we've had over the last 8 months. And I think you'll remember both of them.
Devin being one.
Devin being one.
Okay.
You thought the same thing I did, didn't
Yep,
you?
I have a question.
Well, I remember Devin telling me when I first met him that, that chemotherapy potentially can cause neuropathy in your ears. And so they highly advocate there at Salem Audiology that get your hearing tested so that you have a baseline. Mm-hmm. Because now you can show your insurance, my hearing loss is because of the treatment.
Right.
But the other one I want to bring up was a guest that was introduced to me from Russ, who called us from Denver, Colorado.
Oh,
Terry Tucker.
Oh, Terry Tucker. Okay.
Remember Terry?
Yes.
So Terry's a good friend of yours.
Oh, yeah.
And Terry, 6 foot tall, gets cancer on the bottom of his foot.
Yes.
He's 6'7".
6'7".
Yeah. He played basketball. He was involved in all that kind of stuff. It's interesting because he went through this like 11 years sooner than I did.
Right.
And he said, God has blessed you with being 11 years later because, technology and medicine has moved so far. And he is still battling and is on experimental treatment and all of that. He initially lost his foot, lost his leg below his knee.
Yeah.
And my dermatologist, when I went back after this first round and all that stuff, she told me, we were shocked that they didn't take your foot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you remember the conversation with Terry months ago?
Yes.
Yeah? And they amputated his foot? I didn't realize he was 6'7", but...
Me neither.
He's tall.
Yeah.
He's very tall. He looks tall. He looks shorter sitting down, but...
Like you don't say.
I was kidding him. He's been on a few of my live streams, and I was kidding him one time. I said to him, man, you look way shorter sitting down. He smiled.
That's funny.
So you had a question, Amanda.
Yeah, did you get a hearing test, a baseline, before all of this started?
Yeah, not on purpose, but yes, I did. So what happened was I won't make a lot of comments about this, but the ENT I was going to in Salem, let's just say I switched and went to OHSU instead. Mm-hmm. That's enough said. But they had taken a hearing test, and they were pretty much, you're just old, you're losing your hearing, turn up your hearing aids, good luck. And I was like, no, that's not right. And I said, besides, when you go from this point all the way to hardly being able to hear out of that ear, and you don't realize how much that affects everything you do.
Oh,
I mean, I think people can imagine, but it is so drastically affected how I deal with people and all of that. And my poor beautiful wife, she's got such a beautiful, lovely, smooth voice in the perfect range that is my worst hearing. And so some of the people I hear the least are voices like hers.
Right.
And it's hard. It is really hard to go through that and have the person you love not being able to, I can't hear her half the time. And so that can be frustrating. So all the things that go with it, I just got back from speaking in New York here a couple of months ago at the Perspectives on Cancer conference. A really close, another new friend and now good friend of Barron's. And
who, by the way, he called into the show too. Remember Tim?
Yeah. Tim Sohn.
Tim Sohn?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he went back to New York to speak at Tim's event, and Tim has called in the show too.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was. I was shocked that I could do it actually, because it took a lot of energy.
Yeah.
I went back by myself, but I had some friends. I roomed with a friend in the hotel, which helped a lot. And I just had a lot of support there. But the whole thing that everybody talks about going through cancer too is cancer is a lifelong journey, right?
Yes.
It affects you in so many ways. And that's not to say a negative. That's not like, oh, woe is me, poor Russ. No. It's just, I don't think until you go through it, I know at least I didn't, until you go through cancer or you go cancer with somebody, you have no idea all the ways that it affects your body.
Right.
And it's pretty profound. And the energy level, which doesn't sound like that big of a deal, I think is actually one of the worst things that I deal with.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm a high energy guy.
Right.
And that doesn't allow me. I have little spurts like this where I can do it. I napped before I came, and I'll nap when I go home. That's right. Absolutely. I just can't endure what I used to do.
Yeah.
Well, I know that a couple weeks ago, during the update, we announced the Russ Rocks rock concert, and Amanda asked what time it was going to happen. And I said, well, it'll start at 5 and it'll go until Russ falls asleep. No, I did
15 minutes later, they're like, thanks everybody for coming. It's been great.
No, I said it was going to go theoretically it should go from 5 to 8, but somewhere around 7. It saps your energy. It just really saps your energy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I haven't been able to, this, since this second diagnosis, it has really zapped me so much that, I used to go to
every chamber
4 or 5 chambers a week, and I can't. I'm lucky to go to 1. If I get to 2, it's amazing. This week I'm shooting to get to 2. It's going to be pretty questionable whether I can actually do it, but I'm going to give it a shot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, so I have a surprise announcement for you, which leads into the second part of this. So we you may or may not know this already, but we'll find out. So we're having this concert at the end of the month, okay? And it's the Russ Rocks Rock concert at the Rec. It's in Kaiser. There's one last piece that I've got to get nailed down, so I don't want to announce everything yet, but I'm pretty sure I can tell you where it's going to be. It's going to be in Corvallis at the Marriott right along the river.
Yep.
There's 2 dates, so we're trying to pin the date down, but there's going to be a second Russ Rocks Rock concert in February.
Yep.
And the band for that one is called Kickstar, and they're based out of the Monmouth Independence area.
Okay.
And they have greatly reduced their rate to come perform at this.
That's awesome.
And I get a message, and Tim Schoen says, "When's the concert? Your buddy's going to fly to your concert."
No way.
You're probably not supposed to tell me that.
Yeah, that was probably a big
Everyone's your surprise. Yeah.
Well,
I won't tell him you told me. It's okay.
Well, when he announces it on Facebook, I kind of figured it's safe to say something.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, because I put the concert up, and Tim's like, "I'm going to be there," so I thought he had already seen
well,
it.
He just told us he's not big on social media.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
But I do. I've done that more than once. But but there's a wonderful Russ Rocks concert shirt Russ Rocks shirt that I know that you're going to be sending back to Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because Tim's like, I need a shirt. Mm-hmm. So.
Actually, I think you're doing that for me. Thank you.
Yes, I just need address. I'll get that shipped off right away for you. So I just want to let the listeners know that there's several ways to support Russ over the course of the next 6 weeks. There are new shirts being created. If you'd like to sponsor this shirt, reach out to me. There's a couple sponsorship levels. I'm not a really big fan of the back of the shirt saying, here's our gold and here's our silver sponsors. I don't want to distinguish your monetary amount with a title like that.
Right.
But if you donate more, your logo is bigger than the ones that donate less.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
But we want to shout out businesses throughout the Albany, Corvallis, Lebanon, Salem area that know Russ and want to support. And then once the shirts are created, they'll be at both of the rock concerts. You can buy a shirt.
Okay.
$10 for every single shirt goes back to Russ. Especially the event in Corvallis is going to have an auction. I know that we had a guest a few weeks ago named Erin Hurley. She has donated a stay in Costa Rica as a prize.
That's
as an auction. She has property in Costa Rica, and she said, I will donate one of those.
Yes.
I have an item in my car right now that was mailed to me from Amy Ryan Corser. It's a handmade painting that she created to auction at your concert. Wow. She says, how can I help?
Amy's amazing.
So people are reaching out already with items to put in.
Yes.
And it's one of those auctions where you go around and say, well, that's the price, and you put it down and you go back, oh, somebody outbid me, so you bid again.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, silent auction.
Silent auction. And so that will be a way to raise some money for Russ.
Absolutely.
And then we're going to sell tickets to this concert once we'll know the prices here soon.
Yep.
And once again, I've sent it through to the universe already, but I'll say it a second time. Once it's all said and done, I'm going to hand Russ a check for over $10,000.
Yes.
We're going to get some of these medicals bills paid off.
Now, what if we cannot make it to the concert, but somebody wants a shirt or wants to help support him, and how would they go about that?
If you add another $6.95 to the price, I'll ship the shirt anywhere.
Okay.
I'm not gonna. We gotta absorb the shipping, so just
Right.
pay. So instead of $25, it becomes $31.95.
Or where's your store located?
And our store is located at 3737 Cherry Avenue in Kaiser. Your best bet at this point is to reach out. Let me know you want a shirt.
Okay.
If I give it to you, there's no shipping cost.
Right.
So you can definitely do it that way. If you go to our website and make a donation, then I will know you did that, and I will know that donation came in for Russ,
Yes.
right?
Okay.
And so if I say, oh, here's $100 from whoever, then I'll know that Jay Peck, who's a friend of yours, I think I said the name right. If I see names I recognize, I know they're donating for Russ.
Right.
Right. So if you can't make the concert, if you can't bid on the auction items, but you still want to support, there's plenty of ways to get some money to
Absolutely.
Russ. And then when it's all said and done, I sit down with Jill from our board. We took all the numbers. We go, okay, this is how much is going back to Russ. And we write this man a check for over $10,000 to get these medical bills paid off.
I love that.
And the reason I'm so excited about this is because when Russ reached out to me with this news was about the same time that Marianne reached out about her news. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't going to throw it out there to the universe, but I was really scared that you were going to make it till the end of 2024. But today is January the 4th, 2025, my friend. You are still here.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes,
Because
you
God's
are.
got bigger plans for you.
Oh yes,
He's
God's
not
definitely
done.
not done with me yet.
Not
for sure.
one little bit.
That's right, and
Yeah.
I truly believe that, and the kind of outlook they give you, like I said, is not rosy, and there's still a long ways to go.
yeah.
But I mean, God is good, and it's looking so much better. And you still got to go through all the treatments and do all this stuff, but just so thankful that what they're going after is going the right direction,
Yes.
going away as opposed to.
Correct.
And I'll definitely keep everybody updated, but I'm believing for good news is going to continue
Yes.
to do that.
Well, you are dominating this fight,
There you go.
and it is awesome.
Amen.
One of the best statements, I know we're almost out of time, one of the best statements that summarizes everything that's just happened, all these pieces that came together, meeting Jennifer and being there at that walk in Corvallis.
Yeah.
And I had a guy that I met, he actually writes the insurance for the organization. And I said, this is such a small world. And he goes, it's a small world, it's a big God.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
And he has connected so many pieces for me to help make this event happen for Russ.
Yes. I
Yeah.
love that.
What a blessing.
So,
I love that.
So my timeline is really fast for you. It was April the 14th, 2022. We opened our first Kickin'Cancer office on Commercial Street.
Okay.
We finally were at a point we could actually get an office. We had a desk in the office and a place to buy shirts.
Yeah.
But it was April the 14th, 2022. Kickin'Cancer at its first office.
Okay, awesome. And really quick, where's your location at
So
for
our
your new
current
store?
location is 3737 Cherry Avenue in Kaiser.
Okay.
And when you walk in, it looks like you're in a disc golf store. I get it, but that's where our shirts are at now.
Yep, awesome. And your website one more time.
Kicking-Cancer.org. top right corner it says donate. Make a donation. We're going to get some money to Russ.
Okay, and then I'm sorry, one more thing, the concert. Give me the details on those really quick.
So the one I can tell you for sure is January the 24th. It's the end of this month. It's at the Rec, and I love it. It's called the Russ Rocks Rock Concert at the Rec. You got to say that kind of slow.
It'll kick off around 5?
Around 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And if all you can do is just come and give Russ some support, give him some support, just have fun. It's some great 80s. They're a great cover band.
Perfect.
It's Infamous Soul. Thank you, Infamous Soul.
Awesome. All right, perfect. Well, then we will be back next week
As the movement continues.